Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. So just wanted to give a quick recap on the Cowboys' really dominant victory over the Cincinnati Bengals, 30-7. We haven't had many wins. We're 4-9 on the season, and we sure haven't played uh, to the effectiveness that we did yesterday. Really, forcing the issue with turnovers, some of them just sloppiness, and the Bengals being one of the worst football teams in the NFL. But the Cowboys capitalized yesterday, and you have to give them a lot of credit. But for me, just the story of the game is just Andy Dalton, just being happy for him, going back to Cincinnati, where that was his NFL home for many, many years, and seeing his wife and just soaking everything in. He had a lot of success in Cincinnati. So coming to Dallas and being a backup as Cincinnati moved on to Joe Burrow with the number one overall pick, and all that, what it's meant for him and where he's at in his career, for him to go back and get that opportunity and play, play pretty well and lead this team to a victory, was cool because there hasn't been a whole lot of highlights for us this season. There hasn't been a whole lot to look forward to or up to, especially since Dak went down. So this was actually definitely one of the cooler moments that we were able to witness as fans. Now, in terms of the entire game, I mean, effort wise on defense, much better from what we saw against the Ravens. People's heads aren't all over the place. As I said in the Ravens recap video, their scheme, and if you don't see their scheme a whole lot, it's going to screw you up. Something to be aware of next week against the 49ers and what Shanahan does. Hard play action, bootleg, outside zone. Our linebackers are going to be in for one. Uh, Leighton and Jalen were able to play a little bit better in this game. And we just, things just went downhill for the Bengals, man, because they were driving the football pretty well up and down the field. That's why we didn't have the stats on the offensive side, because we didn't have the ball that much. We got one turn into a field goal. The other was a defensive touchdown right off the bat. So I just think that with the limited possessions and the game kind of getting away from Cincinnati, you're not gonna get the near 400 plus yards that you saw us generate against Baltimore. But that's okay when you win a game 30-7. I'll take it. And they controlled the football game, even when Cincinnati was moving up and down. I never felt like Dallas was going to let up or give away the game. Now, what does this all mean moving forward? Because these games, we're out of it. I think we're right now number 4 in the overall draft slot for the NFL draft. We're in pure evaluation mode. I still think that, after the season, you're going to move on from Mike Nolan and kind of revamp the defensive staff as well as the defensive personnel. But when you're making these evaluations, it's cool to see guys like a Savion Smith out there and just getting reps and getting an opportunity to evaluate him. I saw Chris Westry out there, saw DeAndre Burton out there. So some of these other names, and getting reps against T. Higgins and AJ Green, it's valuable information. I'd love to see Reggie Robinson again at some point. And then on the defensive line, I'll say it again. Bradley and I would like to see him in there as well. But apparently Tyrone Crawford still plays for this team. He got all over Ryan Finley when he got in the game. So that was fun. But I also want to give a few other shout outs to some of the veterans, man. Like Amari Cooper, to me, like I would have thought he would have throttled it down, honestly, just what we've seen from him in the past. But he's been giving a professional level of effort. He actually got missed on one of the on a potential touchdown by Andy. He had a good ball go to CeeDee Lamb's way, so it wasn't horrible. But Amari's been playing really well, and I think consistent, and he looks healthy. So those are positives. What you see from the tight end group, I think you have found money there. You have to bring back Blake Bell. Dalton Schultz has grown, and then what you get from Blake Jarwin. So like that's a good, nice little group. There's nobody in the group that's elite per se, but in a league where tight end play is really shoddy, you have really good options there. And then obviously the evaluations we're making on the offensive line. At times we're able to open up some run lanes, more specifically for Tony Pollard. Tony's playing really well, playing with some more juice and confidence. his kick return. He looks more looking like the guy we saw out of Memphis, which is positive. At this point, I don't know if Zeke is just banged up and he's ready to shut it down or what, but the effectiveness, just not quite seeing it there. I know the offensive line, they're going to have their challenges, just is what it is, especially with Steele, Knight, Joe Looney. We're evaluating Connor McGovern, which is good. So we'll see what the run game produces. I think it's going to be hit or miss, even with the last, three games or so. So overall, you just looking for development and to be making evaluations and who can we get excited about being on the roster for 2021. That's what I'm looking to see as a fan. The draft stuff will work out where it may. If I'm Cincinnati, because I know they're ahead of us right now, it's them, Jacksonville, and the New York Jets. Obviously those two teams are probably going to be looking quarterback, the Jets and the Jaguars. But Cincinnati's probably looking at Penei Sewell, and you're talking about a quarterback class, at least the big three right now with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson at BYU. You can even add a Trey Lance in there from North Dakota State. The Cowboys still may have great opportunity there. If one of these other teams fall in love and they're able to stay in that top 5 range, we'll see what happens and how it breaks out, because I think some of our division mates are starting to pull away. Washington getting a win, Philadelphia getting a win and staying alive, and the Giants obviously are still ahead of us despite their loss. It'll be interesting to how it all plays out. But if the Cowboys stick around in the top 5, they still may be able to do some business with some of these other teams. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Overall, it was a great performance against two bad teams, but we only get 16 of these Sundays or Mondays or sometimes Tuesdays, depending on COVID. We only get 16 times to watch the team play throughout the whole year. So when I got this star on my chest, anytime we come away with a dub, especially like that, I don't care if it's against, JV teams, I'll take it. So appreciate you guys. Hit me in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, feeling. I'll be back with more later.